Good morning, everybody, and welcome, and thank you for joining us today. My name is Jamie Ross, and I'm the Partnership Director for UMI, and we're hosting this webinar for the EM3 Growth Hub, and I'd just like to give you a little bit of background information on the Growth Hub, just in case you're new. So it's a fully funded business support service providing advice, coaching, webinars, and signposting to small to medium enterprises, and the mission is to help you to recover, adapt and develop sustainable growth and become more productive and profitable. All businesses at any stage of their development can access and benefit from the Enterprise M3 Growth Hub service, including support around COVID recovery and UK transition support. Additionally, we do have a specialist growth service that's targeted at operating within key sectors, which can offer businesses up to 2 days of free one-to-one business support and mentoring. But have a look at the website, which is the enterprisemthreegrowthhub.co.uk for more information. And at this point, I just would like to welcome back Norma Foster. If you're there.
I am.
Hi, Norma.
Great to be with you. Thank you.
Lovely to have you back again. So I'll hand over to you.
Fantastic. So good morning, everyone. Wonderful to be with you here this morning. And today we're focusing on your digital marketing essentials and how to get the most from your digital activities. And I am just about to share my screen with you and put the presentation up there. Jamie, just confirm for me that that's visible, please.
Yeah, we've got that. I just wanted to add another thing as well, just for the audience. If they've got any questions, just pop it in the questions and answers section down at the bottom, and we'll break for a couple of points for Norma to answer those. But yeah, all spot on.
Yeah, and please, within reason, because it's a short session today, very happy to take questions and do my best for you today in terms of how you can get your digital activities in great shape and get some good results, because essentially what we're all looking for is added traffic and added conversions and sales through our digital marketing activities. So global marketing, what is it all about? And essentially it's there to focus a product or service on the needs of potential buyers in another country. And this is the big issue that we're all faced with, that indeed those needs and preferences and behaviors of your global audience will change depending upon which country or which culture they live in. And of course, the search engines also vary from country to country and region to region. So it's about understanding where to focus your products and services so that you can get the absolute best results. Now at present, we're at the end of a long year of change. COVID and Brexit have certainly changed the way we do business, and we've had to adapt, almost become like a chameleon. And I think for a lot of us, it's really distilled things down to what is truly important. And that a big part of that is obviously maintaining and managing our businesses, but also it's about really connecting with people, and it's about community, and it's about ethics, and it's about doing great work. So I think one of the things we're going to have to be doing is taking a long view of these changes and what will stick, which behaviors will persist, because what we are going to have to do is adapt to the changes that our customers are going through. And one of the things that's most important to your customers when they are engaging with you online is their ability to interact with you. That is huge now. How well are you taking care of them? How good is this experience? So I think the huge question is, how are we adapting to survive and thrive? And certainly within all of that, our communications and how we're looking after our customers is absolutely fundamental. So there are a few principles to digital marketing that are really, really important. These are a few of my favorites that I would like to share with you. And I have done well over 650 different projects with exporters over the last 7 or 8 years for a number of partners looking at digital, which always sits at the very heart of all of their activities and their success. And one of the things that's truly important is their need to think global and act local. Well, what does that mean? It means you need to get the message out there that you can take care of your global customers no matter where they are, that you're a safe pair of hands and that you are able to take good care of them. But of course, everyone, including us, probably likes to buy local, that we feel understood and we feel cared for as well in particular. So whilst we're putting out this flair and flavour of being an internationally successful company, we truly also need to adapt and give the perception that we are local, even if we're not there, but be as local as possible so that people can identify with us, they can engage with us easily. And at the end of the day, it comes down to being easy to find, easy to contact, and easy to do business with. So think global, act local. Preferential treatment to those local customers will get you a long way. And of course, the search engines know that, so they will give you preferential position in the search engines if you adopt this approach. The second principle, people buy from people that they trust. And trust looks very much like this. On the left-hand side, how good are you at what you do or what you produce? The extent to which you're competent and capable, that builds respect. On the bottom axis, how much do you care about me? This is probably more important for the customers. How good's the experience if I do business with you? How good is your customer service? Because if that's great, especially if I'm from a different country and you really put me first, then you're building respect and affection that builds trust. And trust is definitely the most important commodity that you can cultivate in your digital marketing activities today. In order to do that, you need to be able to put yourself in your customer's shoes. And this is so critical. And we're going to focus a section of this webinar on actually putting yourself in your customer's shoes, which translates as doing customer profiling and really understanding your customers' needs and preferences and behaviors, because your website, your social media, your content, everything that you are creating in your digital marketing is for the customer. So great if you like it, but it doesn't really matter. What really truly matters is whether your customers like what they see. It encourages them to want to engage with you more, and they have a quality experience with you online and offline. So I'd like to do a short poll now. I'm going to ask Jamie to kindly bring up the poll for you. And the question is, what is your biggest digital marketing challenge? So if you would be so kind as to choose the one here that you would put at the top of your list. Jamie and I always really like these polls because it gives a real flavour of where people's thoughts and priorities are at the moment. So let's see the votes that are coming in. Give you a few more moments to read that through and make your choices.
Just while you're waiting there quickly, Norma, I was just wondering, and sorry if you're going to cover this or as well later on, but it's just the importance of going through that understanding of the client base in order to have the right tone dependent on the customer.
Yeah, there's a whole section coming up on understanding your customers, which hopefully people will find very productive.
For sure.
Wow. Yeah. And actually, I'm really not surprised about that. You know, I do many webinars and previously also face-to-face workshops. I'm looking forward to when that happens again. But generating traffic and leads generally always comes out top of the list. And a lot of the rest is actually on pretty equal par. Understanding customers' wants and needs, globalizing and managing your website, targeting content, and digital and social performance. So really interesting there to see where you're at. And of course, generating new business is top of all of our priorities. So that's great. So today I'm going to be covering 6 steps to take you through digital marketing success. One is going back to basics and benchmarking and understanding where you're at, because that's your starting point and you need to be able to measure your journey. So benchmarking is crucial, and of course, learning from your experiences. Revisiting your strategy, mapping out your vision. Where is it that you want to get to? And being clear about that, because with your benchmark position and your vision, we can start to map a journey to get you there successfully. And of course, within that, doing your research to help shape your vision, because so much has changed over the last year in particular. And we want you to build that strategy on a solid basis. Step 3, really the most important element of all, putting your customers at the heart of everything that you do and really understanding them, getting in their skin and creating a digital experience that works for them and brings you fantastic results. And then step 4, we're going to look at how good is your welcome mat, because first impressions really count. But then the experience that you're providing the customer will be the metal of your digital marketing success. So we're going to take a look at what websites and what good digital shape looks like and how you can achieve that, and I have some examples to share with you. And I've got some ideas for quick hits, quick wins in there that could give your business development, bringing in new leads, a little bit of a boost, which I think all of us will welcome. Step 5 is looking at content, because your website, your social media resources, they're the vehicle, but the content is the petrol in the tank that will make it work. So how good is your international content? What plans do you have? What's your strategy to help take the pressure? Because content creation is such a demanding thing. And we're going to look at things that you can do to actually make that a little bit more simple. And then step 6, finally, to get organized, have a plan, and work smart for best results. So I'm going to take you back to basics in step 1. And really what I'd like you to be doing is looking at your website, your digital presence, along with your social media, and how that is performing for you. And there are quite a number of different tools online that you can use to do this. SEMrush have a great web audit, SEO Moz have a great audit tool. I use a one from a company called WooRank that gives you a wonderful overview of all of the elements of your website's performance and effectiveness. So I am offering people to produce for you on this webinar a free website audit. If you wish it, then you can drop a note into the Q&A box, please. And I'd be very happy to send you that website audit that will give you a good impression of where you're at. In terms of your LinkedIn profile, there is something called an SSI score, which you will be able to use as well to check out your LinkedIn performance, which for B2B is one of the most important tools that you can use for lead generation. And actually for B2C, I've got a number of clients that have used it to great effect, so well worth looking at. So get a good benchmark of how hard your website and digital resources have been working for you, and take some measures and write it down, and make a note of, the aspects of your digital marketing that you feel have worked well and what hasn't worked so well, and get really, really clear about that. Now, in order to take a bit of a broader view of that benchmarking exercise, I have pulled together a digital marketing checklist for you, which is coming up shortly. But, you know, what we're going to be looking at, some of these aspects we'll be looking at today, you know, your social media, your SEO, and how you can set up your website for good conversion. And of course, email marketing as well, which is a great tool if you have a good database that's really well used, got the data protection aspects in there, and you're giving your clients a great experience. You're producing regular quality emails to them, not just about selling, but also supporting them, and that's working well for you. And I'm not going to be talking a great deal about paid advertising today, but what I would say is that paid advertising is great, and I'll mention it again when we come to the website section, for actually giving a boost to your international pages and landing pages when you first set them up. So we're going to go through some of these aspects, but I'd like to bring you back first of all to your digital marketing checklist and how well you think you are doing. Now, you may want to take just a sheet of paper, and very happy to send this checklist out to you if you wish. Again, just drop a note in the Q&A. But these are important questions for benchmarking at the beginning of your journey, and maybe some actions for you to write down on that sheet of paper that you can consider at the end. Do you know which countries you want to target? You know, have you researched the local needs and preferences of your target customers in those countries? And we'll be looking at how you can do cultural research as well. Are your international offer and unique selling points clearly and simply communicated on all your marketing? Does your communications approach focus on the international client viewpoint? Is your website internationalized? Have you brought in some country and language content to make people feel at home? And of course, number 6, testimonials. According to Nielsen Retail Research, testimonials can increase a customer's confidence and willingness to buy from you, that trust aspect, between 63 and 92%, which is huge. So they're real trust enforcers. Are you collecting them? Do you have a process for that? Are you using images, diagrams, video, and other visual aids on all of your resources? Do you know this adage, a picture speaks 1,000 words? And that's particularly true when it comes to your digital marketing. Do you make it easy for clients to get in touch with you? And this is a one that gets missed so often. Have you included United Kingdom and your address on the website in all of the places where your address appears? And are you including the +44 to make it easy for clients to contact you? And have you got a chat? And are there other ways that people can actually make contact? So all of these aspects are important. Then we get down to some of the nitty-gritty. Have you researched your international keywords, either in English or in different languages? You know, are they different? For example, in America, where 4,000 words are completely different in meaning, we have, you know, a flat or an apartment here. They call them condominiums. So if you're using the wrong words, your marketing is not going to work. Do you know the relevant global search engines to use to promote your business? Yes, Google has 98% dominance in the international search markets, but actually in China, it's Baidu. Google have less than 5%. In Russia, it's Yandex. Again, Google has a lower dominance in certain international markets. It's important to know that as well. Is the English you use for America, Australia, India, etc., or international clients who speak English as a second language, and that's only 10% of the world's population, is the English you use simplified, and does it avoid jargon? Important again for that ease of understanding. And if you have included translations, have they been checked or done by native speakers and sector specialists just for accuracy, such that it's also a quality read and fit for purpose? And this is a good one. You know, social media varies so much from country to country. Do you know what social media resources are relevant to your clients in a particular country? Facebook, LinkedIn and such like, yes, you can access them in China, for example, but they have Sini Weibo, Renren and a raft of different social media resources that are completely different to the ones that we would use. Paid advertising, do you know if it's relevant at all for your target clients, countries and markets? What's different there? And of course, to wrap this checklist up, which I hope's been good food for thought for you, do you have and monitor objectives and measures for your global marketing? My dad used to tell me you only get what you measure, and that's certainly an important adage with digital marketing. And have you got that global marketing plan that your digital marketing supports that you are looking at regularly and updating and refining on an ongoing basis? So quite a lot of food for thought there, and a great checklist for you to have and refer back to. Let's say from this webinar, you go away, do a raft of actions to come back and check, look at your benchmark, see how far you've progressed. It is also good for you so that you can see the good results that you are bringing in. So sorry, Jamie, go ahead.
Yeah, no, I was just going to pause there because there's a couple of questions, if you don't mind me
No, go
fielding
ahead,
them.
sure.
One of which was just the, could you give the names of the benchmarking tools again?
Yes, one tool, well, the tool I use, and you have to sign up and put your card in, but you do get a few free goes on it, is called WooRank, WOORANK. We pay for it professionally and we get a lot of additional features, but it's a great tool. And I will prepare a report for anyone who wants it. Drop your contacts in the Q&A and the guys will let you have that. SEM Rush is another great website audit tool, and the other one that I really like is SEO Moz, M-O-Z. There are lots of others, but they're good ones.
And which, sorry if I missed that because I'm reading, but the LinkedIn profiling.
LinkedIn profiling is called the SSI. It's their social selling index. So you would need to type in linkedin.com/sales/SSI. And all the information you need is on there. It's crazy good. It's just so fabulous. That score is updated on a daily basis. And it cuts across 4 areas of connecting, engaging, producing quality thought leadership content, and reaching out and being proactive in building your network. They're the key measures within SSI.
And then there was another one just around monitoring and measuring global marketing. And I'm aware of the likes of, say, Euromonitor, which is in the FMCG sort of market, but it can be quite pricey to go through those routes.
Well, it can, and I think it's always a good idea to just check out what's available online, because you will find that there are ways of achieving this yourself without going to any huge expense. So, if anyone wants to delve into that a bit deeper, I'm just a bit conscious of time, then drop a note in the Q&A. I'm really happy to send some responses afterwards.
Brilliant. Thank you.
Thanks, Jamie. Really helpful. Thank you. So step 2 is looking at your strategy in a bit more detail. And of course, the first question is, should you be going global? How far are you going to reach out? Because it is a lot of additional work. Is it worth it? And yes is the answer. It's a capital light approach to rapid international growth. The UK is one of the most advanced e-commerce markets in the world. And, the British way of doing business is still respected internationally. And we know from research that web-savvy SMEs bring in double the revenue through exports. So a lot of compelling reasons why you should. 5 reasons why you should write it down, apart from it, being a really good practice. And I love one-page dashboards. It doesn't need to be a huge document, but your competitors could be forging ahead of you and you need to keep a sharp eye on them. Either you haven't done customer profiling before or it hasn't been done recently. And if it hasn't, do it again. So much has changed. Your marketing takes time, but it might perhaps lack purpose and cohesion, and distilling it down into a document will bring you that purpose and cohesion for sure. Your spending budget, but return on investment might be elusive, so you need to sharpen it up a bit, or you might just not be clear about how to optimize your marketing in the first place. The 5 key elements that you need in there, well, we've looked at the benchmarking. You definitely need your goals and the outcomes you want to achieve. You need to take an approach to plan your digital marketing out well across, and I would suggest, a 12-month period. You're going to be focusing on a multi-channel approach, because people are taking 3 to 10 steps on average, 3 to 11 steps on average, before they make a decision to buy from you or engage with you and do business with you. And that could be online and offline. So what's that sales journey? And we will talk about that a little bit. And how do you ensure that that's working really well for your customers? And different customers like different tools, so you need to take that into account as well. And finally, measurement. Measuring, reviewing, refining, and reaping the reward. So that process of constantly measuring and monitoring is also really, really important. It's also fundamentally important to do your market research, to really understand which countries in the world would be appropriate for you. And this is a more complex thing. You have to get clear about your own criteria and what's important to you. But where are the market conditions right? Where is there a demand from my client base? And that is about Googling. It's perhaps about looking at Office for National Statistics data, the Department for International Trade, their GreatGov website has some fantastic country information and resources on there, and you will be able to contact them and take a look at the website and get a lot of support and ideas around doing market research. And there's actually quite a lot of free videos out at the moment that you would be able to tap into as well on that. Of course, the local enterprise partnerships, the Growth Hub, of course, that are hosting this today, and your professional networks will all contribute to your understanding of those markets. Also, a really great time to take an in-depth look at your customers. And you can run your customers' websites through some of these website audit tools to get a handle on where they're at and what they're doing. Take a close look at their websites, take a close look at their LinkedIn, and really be critical. It will give you lots of ideas for your own digital marketing approach as well, and truly understand how you are going to differentiate yourself from your competitors. And all of these elements will become a fundamental part of your digital marketing strategy. At the heart of that sits your customer profiling. So, you are developing your website and your digital marketing resources for your customers. And it's a really, really important piece of work. Every business that I've done this for has come back and said, wow, that was so worthwhile. If you're B2B, I recommend that you look at your customer database and you pull together, if you've got more than one, pull them together and take a look and pick at least 20 to 30 customers, more if you are able, and get clear about the criteria you would like to use to review those customer records. It could be size of business, it could be location, it could be sector, it could be numbers of staff, it could be turnover, it could be what products and services they've bought from you. You might be looking at, are they going to be needing this in the future? Do they pay well? Do I really enjoy working with them? So cover the whole spectrum. And once you have your criteria, take a look at these customers in your database and review what trends and themes are emerging. Can you group them into core groups? And the method you would use for determining that is imagining that you are in a room with all of your customers. Where do you need to change the message, the tone and the approach, the examples that you give, the evidence that you bring to the presentation because if that needs to change quite fundamentally, then you need a different organizational group, because you're going to create a different kind of content and a different kind of experience for them on the website. That doesn't mean that you need more than one website, but you certainly wouldn't be able to cater for more than 5 at most, I would suggest, core customer groups that you will focus on. It doesn't mean that you're not going to look after the rest of the people, but you will be focusing on them and making them feel truly seen, truly cared for, and truly, well looked after by your organization. And the last piece is, don't give this work to somebody else to do. As an organization, I'm talking about, do that work in-house, because there's so much richness in going back and reviewing your customers. It's something really to be done in-house. If you're B2C, you will be going straight into profiling people who are buying from you. B2B, once you have done your database analysis, you want to be thinking, who's the key decision maker or makers in each of these groups? Who is actually going to say yes to doing business with me? And you need to get down and understand them really closely. So there's a company called HubSpot, and I've got the URL coming up shortly. They have great information on how to do your customer profiling, and they have these PowerPoint templates that they use, which is a bit of a flow to help you craft the most important marketing messages for your customers based on their needs, their background, their demographics, their key identifiers. What are their communications preferences? Is it print? Is it online? And if so, what? Is it email? Is it social? So you really start delving into your customers' wants and needs and preferences. What's their primary goal in their business this year? What are the key challenges that they have? And what can you do to help them meet them or counteract them? And then gathering real quotations that you may have and thinking about common objections in the sales process. So this is a really powerful process to go through. And at the end of it, because you've been through that process, you're able to craft a compelling marketing message. And you are then able to also build that up into a compelling elevated pitch. So where you can find that, if you just Google HubSpot and how to create customer personas, it will bring it up for you. But you've got blog.hubspot.com/marketing/buyer persona research. They have some phenomenal resources, so please take a look at that. Once you've created those customer profiles, I strongly recommend that you interview real customers who represent your core groups. Prepare your questions in advance. Don't read them from the script. Sit down and have a face-to-face conversation for 20 minutes is probably all you need. Ask permission to record the session, which will give you added richness because you can't possibly write everything down. And use these to go back and refine your profile. What does it give you? Well, it gives you, particularly if you record it, the keywords and phrases they use to describe what you do and the benefits to them. You will have testimonials and potentially even case studies. You'll understand your customers' pain points and opportunities with their words that are important for you to reflect in your website. You'll have their communications preferences, what social media do they use, what time of day, etc. And you'll find the right tone and content to use on your website when you are creating your content for them. This aspect of collecting the keywords is really important. It's an important element of your digital marketing. Listening to your customers talking, gathering the keywords they're going to type into the search engines to find what it is you have to offer. Understanding them in British English, global English, and looking at your analytics, looking at Google's keyword planner to put some numbers behind it. And if you're not familiar with it, take a look at Google Trends. It's an amazing resource, and Google Trends also offers you a lot of additional keywords and key phrases that are trending at this particular point in time. As you type inquiries into Google or Yahoo or Bing or other search engines, you'll see something called Instant coming up. They're making suggestions to you. Take note of those for keywords. Based on what you've typed in so far, these are the top searches people are entering into the web. So again, fabulous collateral for your keyword research. When you do your competitor research, I hope you will have pulled out their keywords and you reflect on them. And of course, talk to global customers, agents, distributors, think about layman's keywords, and of course, use search engine keyword tools as well. And with all of that, you can then come back to your customer profiles. And I like to create nice looking ones like this. You can change it and flex it to suit you. There are lots of examples on the web and on HubSpot indeed as well. This one is for a food and drink sector business. You know, the business customer, the business owner at the top, what's their main aim? What are their motivators? How did they hear of our company? What problems are they facing? And what are the influencing factors in terms of their decision making? So you can craft this to suit your own purposes, but a really important thing to have. So step 4, how good is your welcome mat? An absolute fundamental to ask, because you want it to be attractive both to search engines. Is it a well-built, well-designed, well-functioning website? You know, is the technology and the navigation and everything good, because they want to deliver a quality experience to their customers, and all of them are different, but essentially the way they operate is very much the same, and they all have fantastic webmaster tool sets that you can sign up for to support you to develop a great website. There is a 3-step global digital strategy. Step 1, get it right in English first with good UK English SEO. You cannot build an international strategy on shaky foundations. Step 2, let's think global and start talking about doing business internationally and in the UK in English. That might just be an extra page that you add to your website in simplified international English for your international customers that says what is different about doing business with you if they do not live in this country. So getting some of those important sales messages across. Step 3, then introducing perhaps country or language pages in a different language. You can increase a customer's confidence to buy by 400% if you address them in their native language online. So really important aspect here. So introducing languages on a simple page. It's not a difficult thing to run as a pilot. And then eventually, if the business comes in and you're feeling more confident and the business case is there, you can think about building a dedicated local website on a local domain where you're doing local marketing, perhaps even with agents or partners in country. So quite a bit to think about there, but a nice 1, 2, 3 step approach. In terms of search results, having a generic top level domain, a .com, a .net, a .info will work harder for you. The country code domains like .co.uk, .de, etc. only work well in that particular country. So if we're searching here, we don't see German, Chinese or Russian websites. Adversely, if people are searching internationally, they'll find it harder to find your .co.uk. So think about getting a .com as a key aspect. Are you targeting countries or languages is an important consideration. In the top right-hand corner, does it say Spain with 47,000 people, or does it say Spanish, where 330 odd million people are putting Spanish inquiries into the web and they live in 26 countries across the globe? Your marketing will be broader and more generic, but the attractiveness might be in the bigger numbers if you can convert. With Spain, you can get very niche and very targeted and give them a super quality experience where the value of that might actually be better for you. I wanted to give you an example of an international page, and this is what it looks like. This is a very small business. He does coaching, having survived from a critical accident. His is on aarontimsofficial.com/international. You can see he's got the international navigator at the top here, and he's telling you on that page how we work internationally, and he's even got some success stories on there to boost confidence to buy. He has frequently asked questions to help clients, how can I access your mentoring from anywhere in the world? And his offer is set out very succinctly and very clearly. Nigel Wright, and this is their older website, have taken the same template. So there's no extra cost in terms of creating a new template for every country, which is a great place to start. And here they've used the UK content in English and the English flag for the UK. They've changed it using the same template, so a German telephone number, the flag in the wing mirror and the German language content. And here we have France, and here we have Belgium, where they're offering 2 languages. So there's a second navigator that gives them that Flemish or French offer, which you could use in Canada, or you can use in Switzerland, different countries where that second navigator button becomes more important. And then finally, Tetley Tea, who have a huge international offer. I love the way they use the cup of tea for you to be able to select the brand and the country on tetley.com. And for the USA, where the .com would be the appropriate domain name potentially in America, they've actually put tetleyusa.com and bought that domain name. And that is a good way, using the country denomination or saying my company global, for example, .com, if you're not able to get a hold of the relevant .com for your business. The HSBC, this example, they've actually built a dedicated website for every country that they go to. This is the UK, this is Australia, we have Germany, we have China. They like busy and red and whizzy bits and lots of content. And then the United Arab Emirates, where here you can see this is for English-speaking people. Only 19% of people in the UAE actually speak Arabic. And if you click in the top right-hand corner, it takes you to the Arabic page with the template reading from right to left. So what is important is that you are building for trust, and Airbnb, with their proposition of opening up your home to complete strangers, is, in my opinion, the best example of what trust looks like on a website. This is their .co.uk offer. And here we have their German offer. As you see, a dedicated website. They have used a lot of the same imagery, not in all areas of the website, but it is completely dedicated to the German market. And they have got a great layout in terms of, well, English, but is it Irish English? Is it New Zealand English? Is it Singapore English? So they're giving you lots and lots of choice there. I'm not telling you you should be doing that, but it's at this stage, but it's a great example of where you might be heading. Your domain names, get the .com. Obviously, look at your international section. That's something you or your web developer can set up for you. You could use these are subdirectories. This second line here, international.yourcompany.com, is a subdomain. I prefer subdirectories. I think this structure of subdomains is a bit confusing for your customers. And this is how you would set it up for countries. And this is how you would set it up for languages. You could, of course, buy the local country code domains. There is a site called 101 Domains that will, 101 Domain or Domains, I can't remember that has an S on, I think it's 101domain.com, that gives you all of the rules and regulations for purchasing domain names in foreign countries, and you may need a local partner to help you with that. The other aspect, of course, is thinking about the metadata and where you need to put your keywords through your content management system. Here we have the BBC News World in English, and the blue line is the meta title. You enter that into the content management system as you're putting the content into the page, and then your meta description, which is where you have a paragraph, an opportunity to about 160 to 180 characters to give people compelling reasons to visit your website. So you may spend £50,000 on your website, but if I don't like what this says here, I'm probably not going to click on it and come and visit it. So it's really important that you get that right. In terms of quick hits and quick wins on LinkedIn, and just a quick burst here, because this can be really productive for you. You know, 90% of the business population say they've already made up their mind about doing business with you before they even get in touch. So making a great first impression is really important. 722 million people online, most of which in LinkedIn are key decision makers and budget holders covering 200 countries and regions. You can have a personal profile and company page or pages. Don't build a company into a personal profile. There are also 24 languages on LinkedIn that you can use. What it does essentially is it takes a clone of your profile and you can set that up in a local language, a really quick and easy way to get a language presence in a different country. And I'll show you how in a second. And the big thing on LinkedIn is you're connected. So what are you going to do about that? What are you going to do to build a relationship with that person and take the conversation further? It's all about quality and not quantity. So, you know, the number of connections you have is irrelevant if you're not really engaging with these people and adding value. So the first job is to understand who you are, you know, what you have to offer and how you can set that out in your profile and also capture the brand of the business. And these are clients that have worked with me. Stephen Gosney at Logico, they're a logistics company. You can see that immediately from the profile. They've got their branding there. They've got their trust enforcers, a good head and shoulders shot, and a really nice headline here. You now have 220 characters for your headline to make a great first impression. And another one here from a rugby tour specialist. So they're good examples of profiles. This is my profile here. I just wanted to show you I've got a profile in German. If you wanted to add a one, you would click the globe at the top here. You get the opportunity to add a profile in another language, and it will bring you up with the languages you can select. And LinkedIn then essentially takes a clone of your profile and you can drop the translated content in there. That does need to be done by a native speaker. Don't use online tools to do it. LinkedIn doesn't do the translation for you, but at around £80 per 1,000 words, it's not going to cost you a huge amount of money. When I put my German profile up there, my views went up by about 465% in 3 to 6 months. So it made a massive, massive difference. So there is a tool, and I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this. For those of you that use LinkedIn and you use it really well, there's a tool called Crystal Knows, which will give you this little personality box here on your LinkedIn. And it is amazing. It works on the principles of psychometric profiling. It gives you, if you click on that box, this box here is a quick view that tells you what kind of person David is, you know, how he likes to be communicated with, what type of personality he is. And you can click on view full profile, you can print it out. It will give you tips and hints and tricks on how to call David or how to email David. so you can make a sales pitch, so you can do a demo, so that you can get to know them. There's lots of different options there. This is a fabulous tool if you don't know the person to help you prepare for a meeting online or offline in advance. It will give you suggestions in terms of email editors, what to write and how to write it. It will give you what they call personality playbooks for discovery calls, product demos, closing a deal, negotiations. And honestly, it is absolutely stunning. You get 10 free goes, try it out, see if you like it. It costs around £23 to £25 per month if you wanted to use it professionally. But for me, it's transformed the way I'm communicating online with people easily, because beforehand it took quite a lot of work to work all of this out. They work with some huge organizations and profess 70 to 80% accuracy. Obviously, the LinkedIn profile needs to be fairly well set out. We've done a lot of work with different organizations in terms of helping them develop their LinkedIn profiles. I wanted to share these results with you based on a 2-month period for John from GT Piping. The responses to his introduction emails went up by 41%. He had a 221% increase in followers. He put out 2 posts to find distributors across the globe and has ended up with 7 genuine inquiries. His social selling index went up by 14%, and 41 new quote requests into the business, which represented a 241% increase for them. So a real quick hit, quick win here, guys. You need to get it right, but it's a great place to focus your efforts. And then finally, in terms of content, you know, your content strategy and the content you're creating, you are writing for your audience, not for you. So your customer profiling will deliver great dividends here for you. You need variety in your posts. You need to make sure it's mobile friendly, and you need to take a campaign approach and measure, analyze, and adapt. But when you get that right, your content will work really, really hard for you. Don't forget with visuals, and this is a list for you, a checklist, and the recording will be sent out afterwards, guys, so no need to scribble all of this down frantically. You can go through this again. If anyone would like a PDF of the presentation, please let me know. I'm very happy to send that out. So this visual checklist, things you need to be aware of when putting visuals and video onto your international website, because they vary hugely from country to country. Also, make sure when you're doing international content creation, punctuation is a huge thing, and if you haven't proofread your content effectively, it will put people off and they will assume that your service or product offer is also lacking in that eye for quality. Make sure you get that right. FAQs and glossaries are great resources to use on foreign websites, and just make sure the content's rich. So you might want to include infographics and diagrams and different things that sort of mix up the variety of content, because we all tick differently. And if you do that, the search engines actually do take that into account as well in terms of performance. This is a great way to set out that you're open for business in all destinations. And, you know, the company really made an effort here. Philip is the name of the MD. The company's now been sold, but it served him really well. He actually set up 6 international offices, and they were all Skype numbers that diverted back to his mobile phone. Eventually, he managed to set up a call handling service that took a message and sent him those enquiries in English so that he could respond within a day, but it helped him get over time zone differences, language differences, etc. His turnover went up 160% in 6 months. So a really good tip for you. So Cultural research. This was a company who were targeting the Middle East, and they have a wine rack or a bottle of wine in every picture that they put up there. So you need to do your cultural research, and there are great websites, Quintessential, the CIA World Factbook, the Department for International Trade. You've got CETA, Communicate, Global Excellence and World Business Culture, all great for doing that cultural research. And a couple of books I really love for general, cultural aspects, Kiss, Bow and Shake Hands. There's various editions, but it's very well known, and Mind Your Manners are two great guides for you. I would certainly propose that you plan out your content themes, and you will know what's top of mind for your customers from your customer research. So plot out your key events, your customer groups, key events, and maybe even country events month by month. And once you have those top themes, you can then pick a theme at the top here, jot down the topics that you would like to include in your content, and then week by week for that month, you can start mapping out what's going on the website, the blog, your different social media resources. You could even include email here, and what's the key call to action for each of those different resources. This is a great way to get a one-pager where you can actually manage and plan ahead your entire digital marketing resources. And again, the content theme planner and the content plan, very happy to send a copy out to you after this session. Just jot a note down in the Q&A. Content variety for better results is definitely what we need. Mix it up, it will work better for your customers, and there's just a raft of different types of content you can include here. It will serve you well. And of course, should you use languages? Well, I've mentioned this previously, 70% of online searches are not in English. Customers are 4 times more likely to buy from a website in their own language, and they will stay twice as long if it's not in their language as well. And we know that 90% of European internet visitors would like to visit local language websites. And there is a list, Internet World Stats will give you access to lots of demographics. Here you have, for example, the top 10 languages in the internet at the moment. And it's interesting to see in the middle column here where internet penetration is the highest, but particularly where the highest rate of growth of internet adoption is. 2 figures which will be important to consider in your digital strategy. And don't forget, Willy Brandt said, if I'm selling to you, I speak your language, but if I'm buying, dann müssen Sie Deutsch sprechen. And of course, finally, if you are putting foreign languages up there, you do need to bear in mind that you need to translate all of the keywords and the metadata in the background. So for example, the BBC here, they're having to translate all of that as well. So do think about the content behind the pages as well as the content on the page. So I have gathered together, courtesy of SEMrush, their tips for 2021, and just skimming through this now with you, what is up and coming and what do you need to bear in mind in terms of your digital strategy. Artificial intelligence is going to play a greater role, as is voice search. If you haven't started tapping into that, then please do. Mobile friendliness has been with us for a good while. So you do need to bear that in mind. And Google has a new EAT principle, not chocolate donuts, but expertise, authority, and trustworthiness. So that's a key aspect to be getting right. Long form content will rank higher, featured snippets, predictive search, good for SEO, and including video is a strong message to us, that will play a huge role. Your image optimization is important. And of course, using lots of different words that set the context, semantically related words, and having a good mix of those is vital. Getting listed in local search listings as an international business is more important, and using analytics as a method to rank your organization as well. So a few successes there for you. Today's webinar in brief, the 6 steps to digital marketing success. It's been my pleasure to be with you. I am happy to stay on, just squeaking in time-wise here, Jamie, but I had a lot to share today. I do hope it's been useful. And I'm very, very happy to connect with you on LinkedIn, Norma Foster, and send out the resources to you after the event.
Yeah, thanks, Norma. I mean, there are quite a few requests actually in there for a copy of the planner and for a report to be done, etc. So Ian will pick up a lot of that in the background and then communicate to everybody out there as well. And then just one final thing, I think that Gert Hofstede and his cultural dimensions work is a really interesting place to have a look at, and how we communicate as well. So if they're interested in those cultural differences, I think he's a fantastic resource.
Yeah. And there are some questions in here. Do you want to wrap up now? Shall we deal with the questions, or are you happy to overrun a little, Jamie?
I mean, happy to overrun a little, but it looks as though everybody. We've got another question in. Any advice for participation in a virtual trade mission?
I think if you are going to partake in a virtual trade mission, you really need to do your homework in advance. I'm hearing from people a lot that they're finding it quite difficult to get the same value from virtual trade missions that they got face to face. So I think there's a little bit of extra work that needs to go into planning ahead of time for the virtual trade mission. To reaching out to contacts and connections, and doing that on LinkedIn is a great place to do it, and actually taking a more structured approach to those sessions. And of course, engaging, I'm finding that when people come to these virtual events, it's about what you're putting into this event, what you're putting into that experience, and reaching out to the people and your colleagues at these events, and actually really making an effort to network with people online will bring you more value as well. But I think a structured communications approach before, during, and afterwards will stand you in better stead because it is all happening online.
Brilliant. I'm going to have to look to wrap that up. We've good talk to you for forever, Norma. I'm certain of that. But I just want to thank you for today, because it was super interesting. There's a lot of information there. It's been wonderful having you on, and also thanks to the audience for being here and watching, and those who stayed on that little bit longer. But if you want to go back and look at any of the information that was talked about today, we have the webinar on the EM3 Growth Hub YouTube channel, so go along and have a look at that. And also we've got the other webinars of the series in there as well. So next week we are looking at having a session on productivity tools and Microsoft Teams. Have a look at the Growth Hub website again, because it'll have the details on there. For now, thanks again, Norma. Thanks everyone for watching, and we'll see you soon.
Yeah, thank you very much. Take care.
Cheers. Bye-bye.
Bye now.